In the last video, we made some parts for the train, and like I said, you could vary this and do your own style of train. That's up to you. And in this video, we're going to work on the wheels. Now, before we do that, our parts are all separate, so if I try to move the train, I'd have to always select all of them. So let's join them into one object. So select them all, and I want the base to be the um, active object. I couldn't think for a second. So that they all connect to this. But before we do that, we need to apply the modifier, or else these new parts will mirror, and then you'll have copies of those on the other side. So let's start by selecting the base, going to the properties panel, the mirror the modifier tab, the mirror modifier, and then click apply. Now select them all. And if a different part is the active object, the one that has the lighter outline, just hold shift and then left click on the base, and that will make it the active object. We want to join these together. The shortcut is Control J, and now you'll notice that they all have the same outline. And if we go into the edit mode, they're all one piece together. Next, let's make the wheels. Let's start by adding a mesh cylinder, and that's currently sort of hiding underneath our train. So if I grab that on the y-axis, I can slide that out. Let's now rotate this on the x-axis 90 degrees, then hit enter. And I'm going to look at this from the front by hitting 1 on the number pad. Let's grab this on the Y and move it forward, grab it on the Z and move it up so that it's roughly centered in the base part of our train. Next, I want to scale this down so it's not quite so big. You can make this as big or small as you want it. Um, but keep in mind, you need to have some empty space underneath here for when we do the train track. You don't want such a small wheel that there's not really room for the track underneath. So I'm going to go about this size, and let's see, 1.4. I'll do that for now. So if you want to have the exact same size I have, you can do 1.4 for X and 1.4 for Y. Okay, now I'm going to look at from the top by hitting 7 on the number pad, grab on the Y-axis, and just bring it over next to the train body. Let's switch to edit mode, and I'm going to hit 1 on the number pad, so I'm looking at it from the front. In edit mode, I want to switch to vertices select, which is this first of 3 buttons. Everything should be selected, but if not, hit A to select all of it. When it is all selected, we'll hit E to extrude, S to scale. Hang on, I did something wrong there. E to extrude, S to scale. And we're going to pull this in something like this, however far or however thick you want that rim to be. Now, let's go to edge select, and you should have all of these inside edges selected, and I only want to have every other one selected. So I'm going to open the search menu by hitting the function 3, the F3 button. It should be directly above the numbers 3 and 4 on the number pad. So F3, and search for checker deselect. And now you'll notice that only every other one is selected. At this point, we'll hit E to extrude and S to scale, and that will pull those in towards the center, and we're going to stop about there. And you can decide exactly how big or small you want this center part to be. So now I'm going to zoom in and go back to vertices select here at the top. And I need to select each gap, left click here, left click, shift left click on the other one. Then hit F to make an edge, then select the next two, F to make an edge, and so on. So I'll do this real quick. and then we will create this inside circle. You'll find the longer you work in Blender and the more complex things that you create, that a lot of it is just tedious, repetitious work, but that is the nature of the beast. Now, all of those are connected, so we're going to select all of them, hit E to extrude, S to scale, and bring that in, leaving a small opening there in the center. Now, once you have this flat template, we'll hit A to select all of it, E to extrude, and pull it out to give it some thickness. Now, once again, you can make this as thick or thin as you would like. So that will give us our train wheel. Now we'll need more. So let's start by mirroring this onto the other side. Now, if I were in edit mode and I added the mirror modifier, it would mirror around the origin point of our object. I don't want that. I want it to mirror on the other side of this train base. So it's very important that you make sure that you're in object mode for this step. Make sure you have the wheel selected. Go to modifiers and add the mirror modifier again. Now, at the moment, it doesn't know what you want it to mirror onto the other side of. So we have to go to mirror object here in the settings. I can use the eyedropper and select the base, and it's going to mirror that by default on the Y or X axis, or I guess the Y in this case. So we're going to switch that to Y so it's on the other side of the train. And then to make the back set, I will just hit Shift D and hit X and slide the second set of wheels there to the back. Now, when we move the body of the train, we want the wheels to move with it, but we're going to animate the wheels so they rotate. And if we join these to the train, the whole train is going to rotate and flip around. So we don't want it to be joined. We want it to be parented or connected, but still a separate object. So we're going to select the front wheels. We're going to shift select the back wheels, then shift select the train. Once you have it selected in that order, it's very important that it's in that order. Front wheels, second wheels, but the train itself is the last part. We're going to hit Control P for parent, then select object. So now I can grab the train and the wheels move with it. I can rotate the wheels and the train itself doesn't rotate. So that will be all for today's video. In the next video, we'll talk about making some more train cars that will follow behind.